What is a niche book? A lot of people would qualify it as a book that probably has less than 100 reviews on any given platform. I say niche qualifies as a bigger umbrella nowadays, because what is popular is only held up more and more as time goes on. The longer it is popular, the more shelf space it takes up in a given bookstore. It Ends With Us is one of the best representations of this. It only has gotten more popular over years. For what reason? Who knows? What I am qualifying as niche in this video, and you might disagree with some of these books being niche because you've heard of them or you've read them, but I promise you, you won't have heard of all of these. If you have, kudos. All power to you, but genuinely, I'm talking about stuff that isn't A Court of Thorns and Roses, Twilight, anything by Colleen Hoover, Throne of Glass, which I haven't read, but keep an eye out for that. Pachinko, I would even say, is mainstream now. Stoner, just got a copy of that. Oh my god, I'm so excited to read it. But that's mainstream now. Any of these Pulitzer Prize winners, even 84 Charing Crossing Road, I heard about that on TikTok. That can't count anymore. Even if it's award-winning, it can still be niche because the internet doesn't really pay attention to that stuff anymore, genuinely. So what's first on the list? First, I'd like to talk about a book that I have just been dying to talk about, 2666 by Roberto Bolaño. Oh my god! This is my favorite book I've ever read at time of recording. It is genuinely amazing. Now, this book isn't necessarily the nichest on this list. I would say it's actually in the top levels of known, but I think it's very easy to not know about 2666 or even Roberto Bolaño, even though he is a prolific author, a giant log of books. He has so many published works. 2666 is a crime noir, kind of. It is 5 different sections about different groups of people, or different people in general. I would say 2 of them focus on groups, 1 of them focuses on a timeline, and 2 of them focus on individual people. The back of the book says, 3 academics on the trail of a reclusive German author. Next, a New York reporter on his first Mexican assignment. Next, a widowed philosopher. Next, a police detective in love with an elusive older woman. These are among the searchers drawn to the border city of Santa Teresa, where over the course of a decade, hundreds of women have disappeared. Now, crime noir, meaning focusing around those murders. There is a chapter in this book that is 300 plus pages long that details the actually more closely related to reality than fiction murders of over 500 women. You might be thinking, that's a little heavy for me. That's the point. Now, I love books that dive into just how corrupt and misguided police and law enforcement can be, and this book is entirely about that. It is based around the city, the fictional city of Santa Teresa. There is a real city by that name in Arizona that borders Mexico and Arizona, but it actually is about a real city by the name of Ciudad Juarez, which used to be the murder capital of the world, in which over the span from 93 to 2011, 500 different women had their murders go unsolved because the Mexican government at the time, or the local police, decided to put all of these different murders under the umbrella of one killer, making it so that so many different people could go about murdering women over and over again and get away with it. It is a story about that, kind of, but the reason it is so powerful, beautiful, dark, twisted, and magical is because it's not actually only about that. It's about life. It's about death in the most grand, sweeping definitions of those words you can possibly think about. In the first section, it's about these 4 academics. All 4 of them have this obsession with this German author, Archimboldi, which is not his real name. That is his pen name. But Archimboldi is this German author that these 4 academics are in love with. They think that his writing is the best German writing in the world. They have literally devoted their academic life, all of them, or almost all of them as professors, have dedicated their life to this author. And then this academic, who just so happens to be a woman, comes along, joins the friend group, and a romantic kerfuffle ensues. The next section is about that philosopher, the widowed philosopher. His life is just so interesting. It's the shortest chapter, but it's maybe the second most impactful for me personally. I don't know. The next one, about the reporter, it's so good. Oh my god. And then the next chapter is about all of those murders. And the last chapter, I will not spoil what it's about. Do not look at what it's about. It's It's amazing. The book is literally the culmination of Roberto Bolaño's works. It was published posthumously or posthumously, however you like to pronounce it, but it is literally the culmination of all the talent one man could possibly muster. It's amazing. I can't sing its praises enough. I absolutely adore 2666. I want to buy a first edition copy so that I can just write all over it. I want to annotate everything. I want every page to be annotated. I want to dedicate my life to this book, but sadly in YouTube that doesn't really work. So I started with a banger that I needed to talk about. I need to spread the good word of this. Everybody's always talking about The Count of Monte Cristo, which the message is like, I don't know, suffering's really good, actually. No. 2666 comments on police incapability, love, academics, the war, World War II. It dives so deeply into World War II. It talks about the power of words in one of the most deep-rooted, beautiful conversations I have ever seen in any book. And I love The Book Thief. That introduced me to it. This story is entirely about the power of words and misinformation and the power of real information, real knowledge. It's to die for. This is what books exist for. I have this belief. Everybody is always talking to me on Book Talk, and I just can't help but disagree every time I hear it. And it's that sometimes you should just read for the simple kind of junk foodie pleasure of reading. And I can't help but disagree. I think books should be read. You should read books. Books that you read should change you. You should learn something every book you read. Every single time you should be trying to learn a new word. Dive into the psyche of someone you haven't dived into. Reading is about learning, growing, and knowledge. Anytime I hear somebody be like, but it's fun. Yes, but was it anything else? I don't know. I'm not trying to be a Puritan. I genuinely believe any book can be good. A lot of people dog on The Book Thief for being simple, for being straightforward, and I think that's ridiculous. I think The Book Thief has amazing discussions in it that are simplified for people to be introduced to them. Same thing with Tender is the Flesh. I think that there is a place and time for a lot of things. But for instance, A Court of Thorns and Roses is not a book that teaches anybody anything, really. It can get people into reading, and I love that. But I think that there are so many better books that could do that. 2666 is not one of those books. This is not going to get anybody into reading. It is genuinely a hard book to read, and I'm so glad I waited to read it. Now, if you're at the higher capability of reading, if you could read Cormac McCarthy's Blood Meridian and actually incorporate the information it is jamming into your brain, definitely go for it. This is such a masterpiece. It is beautiful. This is the kind of book that literature was invented to create. Oh my god. On another end, let's talk about a nonfiction book. This book is very cool. This is called Japanese Death Poems. Now, this book has kind of become less and less niche, and this is going to be a shorter discussion. So if you don't like nonfiction, definitely skip ahead. But stop! This is a poetry book. And poetry books are also why literature exists. Poetry is beautiful. It's amazing. I love poetry. But I haven't found a lot of poetry books that actually reach into me. A lot of them are extremely contemporary. They're all about love, and I just think that that's scratching the surface of poetry. Japanese Death Poems is about a series of Buddhist monks from like 10,000 AD forward all the way to like almost the 1800s, I think. Some of them are from 1300, some of them are from 1200. And what it shows is that there were a lot of poems written by these monks who knew they were going to die. They knew. They were so in touch with themselves and their inner capabilities and what was happening to themselves that they knew when their death was coming. I actually saved a poem for you to show you what this book is like. This one is from this guy, Kampo Jomyo, who died on the 29th day of the 12th month in 1308 at the age of 74. He was very old for 1300. That's crazy. In 1307, exactly a year before his death, Nampo wrote, "This year, the 29th of the 12th, no longer has a place to come to. The 29th of the 12th next year already has no place to go." These words were taken after his death, as proof that Nampo knew he would die in a year. And so it was on the 29th day of the 12th month, 1308. Nampo took up his brush, wrote the following poem, and died. "To hell with the wind, confound the rain, I recognize no Buddha. A blow like the strike of lightning, a world turns on its hinge." And then he died. And I think that that is what the book is about. It's to show the immense power in the poetry of these men who were so in tune with life. Sadly, there were not a lot of Buddhist monk women. There are a couple in there, not a lot. They didn't actually really respect women that much. And that is the one problem with it, but that's just a historical issue. We can't do anything about it now, which sucks, but it's still very insightful. And I would recommend it for anybody who is struggling with grief or death or anything and looking for inner peace. I don't know. I love Kung Fu Panda too. I'm not trying to be ridiculous, but I just wanted to put one nonfiction book on here Genuinely really cool. Now, a book that I finished as of yesterday, To Cook a Bear by Mikhail Niemi. If I'm mispronouncing that, I'm very sorry. This is a historical crime suspense mystery, I think. It has a lot of categories. I think I would put it in a historical crime suspense mostly. The mystery, I was actually a little surprised by the outcome of this book. But first, again, can we just, man, is that beautiful. Wow, I was so lucky to find this at my used bookstore. To Cook a Bear is also about the inept qualities that the police and crime enforcement can have, that how they can be, what they can do that is just ridiculously stupid. It is about this boy, or this man at time of the book named Juicy. Jussi. If I'm mispronouncing that, I'm sorry. It might be Jussie. I don't know. I like Juicy. I think that's cute. He's a very cute character, honestly, so he deserves it. And it also centers around an actual historic pastor who actually, I'm pretty sure, solved crime in his small town of Kangas. Or maybe the town isn't Kangas, but the church was the Church of Kangas. Not Khan, it was a town in Sweden, I think. Now it follows this pastor and his ward, Juicy, this boy who he adopted off the side of a street. It's a story about child abuse as well, sexual abuse. There's a lot of that, and I love how this book handles it. It is immensely capable at handling these problems, and I think it's amazing. It's gruesome, and it's realistic, but it's so real in how people think about it. Juicy is a victim of child abuse, and I love how his mentality is shown. He's distant from people. He's scared of people. He's scared of himself. He thinks he is not worth anything because of where he came from. He sees that his life only started when the pastor saved him and made it so he exists legally in legal record. Now, the book centers around these crimes where this woman is found strangled and with puncture marks on her, buried in a swamp. Now, the pastor is one of my favorite depictions of like really smart, deductive reasoning. He's kind of like Sherlock Holmes, okay? That's like the best example, but genuinely, he is not like Sherlock Holmes. Holmes is an egomaniac. The pastor is not. Now, I'm not a religious person, but I love the depiction of religion in this book. I love the discussion about it. I like how it can go both ways. It's just that people back then were religious. It was much more easy to be religious back then. His religion is not necessarily the zealotry that you can find nowadays and back then, but it's just that he wants to support people and pray for them and make sure they're okay and spread the good word so everybody else survives. He's a good man. He's not an egomaniac. He is a little egotistical because he's a pastor and that happens. It comes with the trade sometimes. But his deductive reasoning and how he goes to this crime scene and he realizes that this woman was not attacked by a bear. Most likely, she was strangled. And this isn't, spoilers, this is in the description of the book. She was most likely killed by a lustful man. Hidden, marked up so it looked like a bear did this. But the law enforcement of this small town is drunkards. They don't care. They don't want to solve this crime. They want to put it on a bear, kill that bear, eat it, skin it, use its skin, use its skull for research. And I love the talk about animal cruelty as well. That part, I didn't expect that, honestly. It was really well done. Everything about this book is genuinely really well done. The characters feel historical. Their mindsets feel broad, though. Ooh, people back in the day so stupid. No, that's not what it is. It does also talk about how alcohol can be very bad for you. I love that discussion as well. I have a history in my family with it as well. Not anything terrible, but genuinely I have seen how bad alcohol can be. And I love a discussion about how bad alcohol can be. I think what you go into with it is important. And I think that this book shows that. Intention is almost everything in the world. And I love how cool this book was. It wasn't a 5-star rating for me. 2666 is obviously a 5-star read. I don't know if anything else will top that ever in my life. I don't know. This was like 4 stars. It was missing a spark for me, but I genuinely understand how good To Cook a Bear is. It's really good. Like, I think this will be a 5-star book for people who have suffered with things in this book worse than I have. Like, genuinely, I think that it would really hit for some people. Yeah, and the mystery's a mystery. I didn't see it coming entirely. I thought it, obviously. You're always like, okay, here are my list of suspects, but here's the hierarchy of it. The person who it was like maybe middle to bottom of the hierarchy. It was pretty good. I liked it. I thought it was pretty great. Very good book, would recommend. This next one is a book that actually the longer I sat with it, the more I enjoyed it. Now, it's not particularly that niche. I had seen it on like the front shelves of a lot of bookstores, but I haven't seen anybody talk about it. So I'm going to consider it qualified for this video. There is no Anti-Memetics Division. I'm sure you can guess there is an Anti-Memetics Division, but I'm going to flip through some pages and talk about it. As you can see, there are entire blacked out pages, blacked out words. This book plays with memory and it's entirely science fiction, but what if there were entities that entirely preyed on your capability to remember and to think? It played with your perception of reality, what you can see, what you can't. If you were part of an organization that literally had to fight forgetfulness, How would you do it? Mind wars, wars of the mind. It's basically like, if you know what SCPs are, I'm not a big SCP person. I barely know about it. I know about the Endless IKEA and like how it's based around religion as well. Like the Garden of Eden is just an SCP. This is if the SCP Foundation was entirely about thought and memory. It centers around a central figure, but there's also a bunch of short stories about individual characters as well. And the conclusion is genuinely really cool and beautiful. The imagery is vivid. The writing is really good. It's easy to follow, even though it's about all that memory loss and all that blacked out stuff. I genuinely like the makeup of the book. I think it's extremely interesting. Now, was this a 5-star read for me? No. Will it be a 5-star read for some people? Yeah. I think it was a little jumbled here, but the show of like memory loss and maybe a little bit of spoilers, if you're gonna read it, skip this, of like an apocalyptic situation was genuinely really creative. And also, this is an entity in the book. It's a very cool one, but I like the cover as well. I think this book is really cool. I think that it's experimental and we need more experiments in literature. Now, is this gonna be the best book of all time? No, absolutely not. But I do think it's really cool. I thought it was interesting. So if this sounds up your alley, I think it was done really well and that you should give it a try. I think it was super cool. Like, I went into it thinking it might be my next, like, book, but it surprised me. I was thoroughly surprised. Definitely a good one. Check it out. Now a book I've talked about many times, but if you're new, you might not have heard it because a lot of those videos have been deleted. This is The Woman in the Dunes by Kobo Abe. If you're one of my older subscribers, you will have heard about this book a lot. Is it niche? Yeah. It is now. Did it used to be? Not really. The Woman in the Dunes is my favorite book to talk about that is Kafkaesque. Obviously, every book Kafka wrote is Kafkaesque. He invented it. But The Woman in the Dunes is my favorite example of something that is Kafkaesque. It is about this man who is a bug collector. He collects bug specimens. I forget what the word for that is. And he goes to this beach on a vacation from work for a couple of days or on the weekend. And he goes to this beach to collect this pink beetle. But when he is walking up to this beach, he realizes this town he is walking through is caked in sand. And as he walks further and further up the dunes to the beach, the houses are sunken into the sand the further he goes up in their own pits. They're decaying. They're being taken apart, and he stays out too long collecting bugs. And finally, he starts to come back, and he realizes it's too late. He asks the townspeople if there's any hotel he can stay at, and they say, oh, we can put you with this lady, this old hag that we don't really like. You can stay with her. They lower him into this pit with this decaying house with this somewhat old woman, so they were actually just being rude about it. And then when he wakes up, the ladder he was lowered into is no longer there. And now he is in an inescapable pit of sand with a woman and a decaying house. The sand is permeating. It permeates everything. And because it's near the beach, it's slightly moist, so it takes everything apart. And the first thing he thinks about, oh no, I'm gonna be late for work. And that is one of my favorite commentaries in the world. Humans were not meant to have to do all this shit. Oh no, I broke my arm. Not gonna be able to make any money. Not gonna be able to survive. Instead of, oh, I should go to the doctor. Would love free healthcare, America. But for some reason, we had to dye a pool blue. Didn't work well, did it? Anyway, this book is dreadful. Would not read it anywhere near any amount of sand. Holy crap. It is disturbing. It's gross. This version has illustrations in it, so if you find this a really disturbing cover, would recommend this one. Would recommend this book to anybody who's looking for that nightmarish feeling you can get from literature. It is done so well here. Almost to the same caliber of Kafka. It is so evocative of the scenery, like the sand and how encompassing it is, how trapped our main character feels. I only hear his name once. I think it might be Junpei. I only hear it once, so I don't remember it that well. But also just like his trials and tribulations to escape this town, to escape this pit. It's so poetic and also just what's happening. Like, that's the best part. Translation is dreamlike, so it's just not done very well, but I think that actually goes towards how good the book is. I would not change the translation of this book. I think it adds to how weird and ethereal and dreamlike it is, how nightmarish it is. I like it a lot. I would recommend it to anybody who loves commentary on bureaucracy, who loves nightmarish scenery, who loves just like people struggling. And also, I think this would be a great introduction to just what is Kafkaesque. You've read Kafka, you're looking for something similar, read Woman in the Dunes. Very cool book. Now, niche books are just hard to come by in this climate. Here's some that I want to read that I haven't gotten to yet. They're mostly nonfiction, honestly. It's just not easy to make videos about this stuff, but maybe I'll find a way. I don't know. The Unwomanly Face of War by Svetlana Elikshavik. I mispronounced that. I'm sorry. It's a Nobel Prize winner, which is insane. But it's about the roles that women played in war and how unsung it is. And I am really interested in reading this. I love reading about the history of war from contrarians. That is important always. Speaking of contrarians, Daniel Radcliffe, one of my favorite humans to ever exist, recommended How to Hide an Empire, a history of the greater United States. Like Puerto Rico and a bunch of other colonies that we've set up that we haven't said are colonies. We're just like helping them, but they're citizens, but it's an empire, guys. Come on, let's be real. And I love Daniel Radcliffe, and he was like, hey, read this book. Everybody's talking about Bad Bunny and how stupid and not American he is. Puerto Rico is part of America, you dumb fools. I also really want to read The Anatomy of Terror. That sounds so cool. It's basically what it sounds like, how people have weaponized the word terror, terrorists, or so forth over history. All three of those war books sound extremely interesting. I mean, The Anatomy of Terror isn't just about war, but obviously it centers mainly around that. Sounds very interesting. And I'm reading The Idiot by Elif Batuman, which is a Pulitzer Prize finalist, but I would say I've never heard of it, and if you have, that's great, but I had never heard of it, so I'm considering it pseudo-niche, and it fits into this book. It's about... Oh no, Gooby! That's the name of my Sableye, if you wanted to know. It's about this Turkish woman with immigrant parents in the land of email, or when email was new. She's in college, and email is new. That's basically all I know. I'm going through at the beginning of the book right now, which is where I'm at time of recording. Just her starting her new classes, figuring out what college is like. Seems pretty interesting, honestly. I'm having fun. It's not the best book I've ever read so far. It's a little meandering, but I am excited to continue reading it. That's the video. Let me know what your favorite niche book is of all time. Some new acquisitions for the library, thanks to all of my members. We got Stoner by John Williams, which I am so excited to read. I've heard praise of it. It sounds right up my alley. I don't know what primal part of me just loves books about books or books about academics who love books. This one is about a failed academic who loves literature. Books about books. I don't know what it is. I love it. It's almost like this weird, I think osmosis is the word I'm looking for, but I really like it. I know it's not actually osmosis, but you know what I mean. We just got How to Hide an Empire, also a copy of Throne of Glass. That'll be in a video soon. Keep your eye out for that. A copy of 84 Charing Cross Road. That's new to the library. Like I said, thank you to my members. We have a couple new members as well. Thank you so much. You're the reason the library is growing, okay? You're the reason I'm able to make these videos, and I appreciate you dearly. Thank you so much. And that's the video. It was a short one this week, but I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. Let me know, again, what niche books you think I should read, what niche books other people should read, and I hope to see you in the next one. It's gonna be a doozy. All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Oh, bye. Thank you. Bye.